Hello and welcome to August Favorites 2020. So, August. Bye-bye. Sorry, but like a lot of people, I'm not experiencing, for me it's been all this year has been one long month. It's of the same. But that's neither here nor there. So let me do a little recap. So one of my last videos was on spiritual addiction and mental masturbation, and I touched upon that idea that I need something, and that's what drives the spiritual addiction. That's what drives the mental masturbation, and um, although it's not just things, acquiring things, or having the things. It's also with doing the things, which I haven't been doing the things. So thankfully, to a planned power outage in my neighborhood, there's pictures on my Instagram. I did a huge declutter and tidying and organizing of my supplies. And the fact that I could fill an entire drawer of a dresser with candles, that really drove the point home to me that I have not been doing any working of any kind. It's months. Because I haven't been purchasing these consumables. I have not been consuming them, and if I have not been consuming them, and they can fill an entire drawer, I'm not doing the spiritual work. It felt really good to store things with the same things all together, so all the candles in the same drawer. Then I did my cabinet, and also there's some pictures on Instagram, on my Instagram, with my cabinet of how I finally got my herbs out of the little baggies and I put them in their jars. So here's my wormwood. If you like these apothecary style jars, excuse me. Wormwood, well, this jar, it seals shut because of the way it's made, right? But I have some jars that don't seal shut, and those I'll explain later what I do. But, so here's my wormwood. If you like these kind of jars, you think, oh, they're really cool, around this time of year, leading up to Halloween, Michael's always has them in their glassware. Different sizes. I have two sizes. I have this size, and I have a larger one. I have 3 of these jars that I got at Salvation Army. I'm pretty sure that's where I got them. They're antique. They don't have this. They don't have the rubber seal or the washer that goes between the glass to airtight the jar. So what I did is I put a baggie. I put my Bistort in a baggie to so that it's not just drying out, then drying out, then well, it's already dried, but you know what I'm saying, right? Just to protect, to keep it snuggled. All right. And then this is a jar I had featured in a previous video that I got at thrift, and this contains, oh my god, rue pods, rue seed pods, pod seeds. I love that pungent odor of rue. Oh my god. Anyway. So that felt good because I went through my stuff, I saw what I had, and I realized, oh, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. And for a few moments there, I didn't need anything, but that was short-lived because when you're feeling spiritually bereft, that need doesn't just go, it doesn't go away until you fill that hole. And stuff doesn't fill that hole. But it was very helpful for me to see it. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, it leads into the next phase of malaise that hit me like a Mack truck. Right after recording the video about mental masturbation and spiritual addiction, I don't know what happened, but I looked at my tarot shelves and was suddenly overwhelmed. And it's interesting, I looked at those before that was just prior to the power outage that allowed me to reorganize my witchy supplies, my magic supplies. And I looked at my shelves and I was overwhelmed. I wasn't visually overwhelmed. I was sensorially overwhelmed. It felt like as many decks that were up there, I think if I were to estimate 60, were all like, and because I have multiple, anyway, we'll get into that after. So I think I had like 60 decks up there. Or I think there were 60 phones ringing all at once is what it felt like. Now, wanted to talk a little bit about this in my August favorites, because I really don't know how many videos I'll have time to record. But for me, a tarot deck is not just pretty pictures, or, and I know for a lot of you it's a spiritual tool, for a lot of you it's a psychological tool, a self-help tool, self reflection, self discovery tool. For me, a tarot deck has any kind of deck, tarot, oracle, playing cards. They have always been and will always be the method of communication with spirit. My number one method of communicating with spirit, and spirit communicating with me. So it's been a month, people. All these decks were ringing like phones that wanted to be picked up. They wanted to be picked up, and what happens with me personally is that when there's something coming down the pike that's going to affect me or the people close to me, spirit is trying to reach me. So my dreams get weird. Synchronicities are weird. Not just the usual synchronicities, but they're the ones that make me, what the hell is that? I get this sense that the spirit's trying to reach me. And human nature, be it what it is, makes me not answer the phone. Because I'll be honest, the only time they're trying to reach me is because it's bad news. My phones don't ring off the hook because they want to give me the winning numbers to the lotto. Okay? Usually it's because it's a warning. Always, not usually, always it's a warning. It took me a little while to figure this out, that that's what the overwhelm was. Not that I have 60 decks and whatever. It was because all 60 of them are ringing. So I did the VR to Nancy Texas Rose and about decks in the purgatory box. Well, that purgatory box has doubled in size, people. There's tons of decks that I just removed from my collection. I probably will not be keeping them. I haven't decided yet. But put it this way, I don't need to have 60 phones ringing on my shelf. However, the ones I'm getting rid of are the ones that I don't love, or I don't, you know what I mean? Like if I love it, then I don't want to hear it ringing. I'm going to put it on my shelf right here. And for this, I need to thank Simon from Hermit's Cave. he didn't say this to me, he said it to Nancy. He said, think of your collection as a library. And for me, that right away I was able to put the ones that I feel need to move on in the box, and where of decks that need to move on, and I was able to pick out the ones that go in my library that I may not refer to for years and years and years, but like my books that I haven't referred to in years and years and years, I'm going to want them there. So that helped. So, oh my God, did I meander? Where am I? I went on a tangent. Anyway, so for me, because tarot is a tool, tarot, oracle, playing cards, are tools, are literally phones that I use. The spirit uses to communicate with me, and I use to communicate with spirit. They were all ringing at once, and that's where the overwhelm. I feel like that was primarily where the overwhelm came from. Because since I removed the ones whose language I don't really connect with, and that's another thing, like the decks that are moving on are the ones that I don't really connect with, or I don't like the way it communicates spirit's message, or I don't feel like it communicates in a language I understand. Those will be moving on. But the ones that I feel that I've in the past have communicated well, but I just am not feeling okay to receive messages in that manner. I don't know how to, like playing cards. My playing cards, they've been put to sleep, people, because it's too direct. And when there's things going on that are finite, and the news is bad. When the news is bad, playing cards, they don't mince words. Tarot gives you a chance to adjust to the message you're receiving. Playing cards don't. So those are going to be, so that's an example of, I'm always going to want them in my life. I just don't want to hear them ringing right now, so they've been put away. And before I continue with my August favorites, the kind of decks that are moving out of my collection, so to speak, because it is, it is a collection at this point. It's just that I utilize all of them. Are primarily the ones that primarily the mainstream ones, I think, are the ones that are the newer ones, are the ones that are moving out, or the more modern ones are moving out. And to my surprise, because I'm much more fussy, I am fussier when it comes to adopting a new tarot deck. So I have a hard time, like for me, shopping for a new tarot deck is a whole procedure, people, because a tarot deck has to be solid for me to invite it into the fold, for it to become part of the family. Whereas oracle decks, I'm a little more lenient with. Oracle decks, I'm a little more adventurous with, and I used to have 2/3 of my collection were oracle decks, and the other third, or 3/4 is oracle decks, and 1/4 is tarot. Much to my surprise, most of those oracle decks are going to be leaving. And I'm really surprised that the ones that are going, and then there's the ones that are going to be leaving, the ones that are going to be going onto my shelves in here with my books as a library. And then there's the ones that I have always worked with, and will continue to work with. All right. So I thought I just wanted to follow up on that last video and the whole being overwhelmed by my collection, and how I really feel it had more to do with all the phones were ringing because there's stuff going on that Spirit wants to warn me about. And the ringing of the phones gives me anxiety. All right. So, August. I'll start with what I used in August. Yeah. So the tarot deck I used in August, I'm pretty sure was this one. And you know what? It's all a blur. Because this last week of the month I didn't. Anyway, there wasn't much of this going on. But it's my Herbal Tarot. So this was, I think this was mainly my summer tarot. And I love it. I love the cardstock. I love the coloring, the Rider-Waite-Smithness of it, the herbs. I love everything about it. And this is the older, this is, I guess, the original, or the one that came in this box. And look, I packing taped the box because I love the colors on this box, and I'd like to hang on to it for a little bit longer. The Oracle deck. So I got the spellcasting Oracle cards and kept it mainly because of the backs, the cardstock. I just love it. And the keywords. I haven't decided, okay, the artwork it is what it is, right? It's no offense to the artist, but it's very, this is definitely a Hay House deck. And maybe the only 1 or 2 Hay House decks I'm going to keep. So when I got this deck, this is what the box looked like. I ditched the box because I didn't find that the box matched, even though this is from a card that's in the deck, I don't feel like that box matched the energy of the deck. So it has its own bag somewhere. And look at these backs. I just love these. I like these. I like these cards because they're great for intention setting. So passion, willpower, truth, manifestation, clarity, compassion, confidence, empowerment, healing, career. You know what I mean? Like, they're really nice for intention setting. And honestly, tactile, I hate to admit it, but the backs and the cardstock really does it for me. Oh my god, this. And yeah. So for me, this is like a guilty pleasure kind of deck. When I received it, I pulled a card from it, and it's this one. And it called me out. I haven't really been looking after my own well-being at all. When I pulled this card, I was completely out of balance physically. Then I realized I was completely out of balance mentally, emotionally. And then when I continued to dig, I found out I was really out of balance, that I'm really out of balance spiritually. So this card has remained out since I got this deck, and I think I got it in July, as a reminder that I have not dealt with any of this stuff yet. The other Oracle deck, perennial favorite, is Soul Cards 1 and 2. I keep them all together in here. Look how white these edges are. That's incredible. But that's because it's hard to handle. My hands are small, so I don't, the edges don't get grimy. I have 1 and 2 mixed together. I divided them and went through them to see if there's a, if I played this game to see if I could guess from the image on the soul, like the image, if I could guess which backing it was, like to see if there was a difference between soul cards 1 and 2. And no, I find them very cohesive. I only guessed right. I didn't guess right every time. And some I thought for sure were soul cards 1, and they were definitely soul cards 2 because of the backing, right? And vice versa. So you see this. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, one, because I enjoyed these in August, and I enjoy them all the time, but August is when I pulled them out to use them. There's 120 cards in here. I literally pulled in August the same card I pulled last year in August. And I was going through some stuff last year in August where this really spoke to me and comforted me. And this year, this spoke to me as more remember this. Count your blessings. The other card, oh, see, I thought that this was going to be soul cards 2, like red back, but no, it's the teal back. And the other card I pulled is this one. And this has been sitting on my dresser since August. Since the start of August. And it's an image of this person who's flying away, and there's a moth. Also, I'm being stalked by 3 of Swords, 10 of Swords, 9 of Swords, Death. If you've been watching me for a year, you've heard this before. So, there's stuff going on in terms of change. There's also, I'm planning to do there's a VR, I think it's to Natalia about the tower. Alright, so, other decks I enjoyed in August. Well, there's my Thoth deck. Now, I have the one in the green box that's currently available by US Games, copyright AGM, and the only thing I don't like about that deck is the white edge, the white border on the back of the cards. Otherwise, that deck, I don't have it with me, but the colors are very bright and vibrant. The images are crisp, and it's so much better for learning. This, I love it because I'm a vintage freak. Like, I love everything that's vintage. So, that's what I love about this one. But I wouldn't say that the greenie is ideal for learning because it's a little muted. Now, I'm not gonna wax philosophical or intellectual about the Thoth because I'm not there. I find it an extremely clear reader. For me, it's easy to read, and right now all I'm doing on top of just reading the cards, because just from my experience, is I'm layering it with the astrology, and I'm finding that really interesting. I'm really enjoying revisiting astrology. Astrology was my first metaphysical science. It was my gateway, because I didn't count card reading back then. I was too young to understand it was all part of the same thing. So astrology was the first metaphysical science that I got into and started reading about. Another deck I'm absolutely loving. I showed you this box before. Every time I have a box I love, I end up boring everybody to death with it. It lives in this box. It smells amazing. And it's my Daughters of the Moon. So I am just, this is the card. This is a current card. This is the one that I find that this is the kind of deck that I work with. I work with one card, sometimes for a couple of weeks. This is just a beautiful deck. I have to tell you that I'm so happy to own this deck. And so grateful to the person who sold it to me at a fair price and normal shipping. So Daughters of the Moon has been another staple for me. And the last staple has been Animal Wise Tarot. This one is by Ted Andrews. Do I have it right set up? Yeah. Ted Andrews. And this is the current edition that's available right now. Like, you could go on Amazon and buy it. There's something bizarre with this deck that some of the inner, like, burgundy borders are lighter and some are darker. Some of the cards are easier to see than others. But I like this animal photography. What I love about it is that it's not staged. It looks, it's not staged. It doesn't look photoshopped or anything like that, and I love it. Earthworm. How many decks have Earthworm? Anyway, this is a deck I read for myself. This is for me. I like this cardstock. I have the first edition that comes in a more old-fashioned cardstock, the kind that creases, and I've since put it away. It's probably end up in my library. It's gonna end up in my library because I like that this is a more durable cardstock, and although the backs are kind of weird and weirdly rendered, like squished, I use this a lot and it still looks incredible, and it shuffles really nicely, and yeah. And I don't worry about, I could put it in this pouch, this leather pouch I got ages ago, and I don't have to worry about it damaging my cards, because this would damage like a regular cardstock, like an old-fashioned cardstock. All right, almost half an hour. What else? What else can I share? Is there any other deck I can share? Oh yes, and another deck that I've been working with since I got it. I got this as a gift from a lovely friend, and it's my Tarot of the Saints. Robert in place. Yeah. Tarot of the Saints, and this is a Gnostic Book of Saints. So I worked with this in August. Not a lot, just to get to know it, see what it's its voice, what it has to say, and I have to be in the mood for it. I have to be in the mood for it because it has the voice of the Hierophant. Of course it does. It's Tarot of Saints. And I got to be in the mood to have a conversation with the Hierophant. But I have to say, the readings are clear. They don't mince words. Again. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the new stuff that came into my life. So I'm not sure if I don't remember if I mentioned these, but I because I love working with this so much, and I have the guidebook by Michael Tierra and The Way of Herbs by Michael Tierra. These herbal decks, just this Herbal Tarot brought me this Herbal Tarot. I was drawn to work with the Herbal Tarot again because I was watching West Star Tarot. I hope I got that right. Liz, her videos, and she's an herbalist, and she's pulled me back into plant spirit work. My garden, I have videos up of my garden, how I just let it do its own thing, and every time I go out there thinking I'm going to clean it up, I find so much wildlife activity between birds, bees, all this stuff that I can't bring myself to do it. Today I looked out my bedroom window at my backyard and I thought, oh, maybe this weekend we'll go out and clean it up a little bit, and I just saw just tons of bees and little finches feasting on the weeds. Obviously what we consider weeds are food for them. So I'm going to leave it alone until it gets cooler. It's pretty hot still here. So anyway, on Liz's channel, she often shows soul flower cards. Now, I had gotten the Plant Spirit Oracle by the creator of the Tarot of Trees, Dana O'Driscoll, and it's beautiful. It's just not what I needed. I love my Druid Plant Oracle, which I don't have with me, and this is more my kind of art style. I just want to see the plant or the flower. It has a little blurb on the bottom. I got the book and guidebook set. Even though I'm normally not a guidebook person, I feel that with oracle decks, you need a guidebook. But also because look, I could color these if I want. Anyway, when I got these and I opened them up, it's a cardboard cardstock that reminds me of something. I can't put my finger on it. And it makes that sound that I love. Anyways, I love the artwork. This artwork totally speaks to me, and I'm so happy I tracked it down. So happy the creator ships to Canada. So grateful. And yeah, so love, love, love. The backs are different colors. I absolutely love this deck. So the Plant Spirit Oracle is one that's in the to be rehomed pile. What else did I get? Oh, I didn't get it this month. I didn't get it in August. But what I did have it as a backup, and I finally, it's still in the box and brand new. I have been working with this since I got it, and this is the Wildwood. And this is my stalker card. It's my stalker card in every deck because going through my collection, I spend some time with each deck and decide whether it's going to be rehomed, library, or it's a working deck, or whatever the case is. And the King of Arrows, the King of Swords has been my stalker card across all my decks. So I've been using this deck since I got it. I got it as a gift, and I love it. It's a reimagining of the Greenwood with Will Worthington's art, and I received it already trimmed and edged, and I use it a lot, and it's very dry where I live, so some of these cards have become quite brittle. They're starting to actually just crack, and so there's like some scotch tape here and there. Anyway, So I'm really enjoying it. But you know what? It's the lack of borders that that not bothered me. But I was craving to have the borders back. So what I did was, when it was on deep discount on Amazon, I ended up purchasing a backup copy, because when I started having to tape these up, you know, different cards or whatever, having to tape them up because of overuse and they're brittle and all that stuff, I bought myself a backup deck because it was under $20 Canadian. And it sat in the box, like, you know, in the box on a shelf, waiting for when I would replace this one. I edged it, but I didn't trim it. And because I discovered that I actually prefer this deck intact, exactly how it arrives from the publishing peoples. See, for me, it's not all or nothing, people. It's both all and nothing. Or, you know, it's all or everything. Because it's not like a deck has to be borderless. I actually prefer the energy of this deck better. And I wonder if it's because the white space, if it does something up here. I don't know. But I edged it, and I'm really using this one a lot. Not so much, not reaching for this one anymore. Where am I at? Oh my gosh, okay. Thank you for still being here. I think I have a couple of more things to talk about. Oh yes. So, in a couple of videos ago, I showed you I got the Hoodoo Tarot. And the cards are a mess. I had to, like, the cards they come in a box where they're split in half. And each half is shrink wrapped. One half was one size, one half was another size, slightly larger. You put them together, they didn't quite mingle well together. It was so maddening, people, because this is $50 Canadian. All said and done, that's with free shipping. That's just with sales tax. Contacted the publisher just to let them know, hey, I got this deck. Because I had mentioned it in that video, some people private messaged me and said, hey, you know what? Me too. I bought mine at Barnes & Noble, or I bought mine on Amazon, or whatever, right? I heard nothing back. I'm letting them know this is, oh, by the way, the deck I'm going to show you now is the third copy I buy. As an author, I understand that when a book gets returned, the author doesn't get paid. So I'm not going to return it. But I had to trim it because, and my trim job, and I did it with scissors. I wish I was that person with the washi tape, like, you know, like Don Michelle, like very precise with the washi tape, the guillotine cutter. The beautiful deck comes out almost even better than the way it arrived from the manufacturer, from the publisher. But I'm not. I'm a box, you know, box lid in my lap, pair of scissors kind of trimmer. And yet, my trim job was better than what I received. Look at it. They're almost all, like, there's just not even like millimeter. There's the occasional card that sticks up maybe a millimeter. Maybe. Not even. But here's the thing. Remember what I said about this deck? I actually like these better with the borders, because I think they look beautiful now because, well, to be brutally honest, I'll illustrate with the blank card here. Some of them were printed like tilted, like this. That what the hell? So some of them were printed like this. Some of them were over to one side. It was terrible, people. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So removing the borders obviously is an improvement with this deck. However, I made the mistake of doing something with the cards after trimming them that made me realize how amazing they would look, and now I can't get it out of my mind. So I'm going to share it with you. Look how beautiful. I don't know if it translates on camera, but this kind of, if they use the backs of the cards as the borders in the front, look at that. No, it doesn't translate on camera, but in person, it's it adds depth. Anyway, so I love the way the deck looks now. I would have preferred to have kept it intact. I edged mine. I just used 3 different color, like 2 shades of gray and 2 different shades of brown to kind of go with the color scheme of the deck. I was gonna originally edge it in like this burgundy color, but then opted to do this instead. This is an interesting. I find this to be a great tarot. This is a great tarot cartomancy hybrid deck, and mainly because of the guidebook, but also because of the imagery. This is, if you're serious about reading, it's excellent. Like I said, it's a fabulous tarot cartomancy hybrid. What baffles me is that I have some decks with guidebooks that are twice this thick. I say absolutely nothing. This thin book says a lot. There's so much in here. There's history on, like, there's a little blurb bio of the major arcana. There's a little bit of there's a bit of a blurb. There's history. There's the historical context. There's cultural context. There's herbs and their use in hoodoo. The artwork is totally my thing. I love the artwork. And I'd be lying if I didn't also admit that the faces in this deck remind me of people I knew growing up. So there's that recognition of, oh my gosh, that looks like my neighbor, blah, 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 right? So, because they're photographs of people, but because they're these sepia toned, the lady in this picture looks exactly like the first reader I went to as a teenager. So there's that. And I'll just leave you with this card because this is 17. 17, I think, is the star. Grandchildren. So yeah, so here's what all I could tell you about this deck is that the book is worth the price of the deck. The cards, sorry, but three times I tried to buy it, and all three times it's garbage in terms of production. I won't be attempting a fourth time. Beautiful, beautiful hybrid cartomancy and tarot. All right, and the last one, still on this whole. The first deck I ever modified was the Halloween tarot. And that was 2 years ago. It's still, the black marker, the black Sharpie still rubs off on my hands. It's extremely irritating. And it was cut with a dull scissor, and it looks like garbage. So I had obtained one on sale that I kept on my shelf because it's the one with the book. I lucked out and I got this one on sale. And the reason I had modified my Halloween tarot is because I found that these white borders were extremely annoying. And they are. But I won't be modifying this because I already have one that's modified, and because I edged it in black, it still stains my hands. It still stains it rubs off on the inside of the box. For me, I guess I just don't like getting dirty. I hate using a tarot deck that I've edged in black that turns my hands black. It bugs me, like beyond words. I can't even tell you. So I've seen this one, the borders colored black on both sides, and it looks incredible. But I won't be doing it because I know that this kind of cardstock, that Sharpie is never going to stop rubbing off on my hands, and that's why I don't use my other one. So since I took this one out of its box, I've actually used it already more times than I've used my modified one. And yeah, I'm breaking out the Halloween tarot, and I broke it out in August because, right after my birthday, my birthday is at the end of July. Right after my birthday passes for me, I start already thinking about fall. For me, fall is like, I don't know, 5 months long. Anyway, up here. All right. I think that covers it. So, oh, you know what I like about this one? This must have been, can't remember where I got it. And I don't know if it still comes like this with a guidebook. But this came with something that I remember in the 90s, a lot of tarot decks came with posters. Now, I'm never going to use this. Like, I'm not going to use it as a spread cloth or a spread poster or whatever. But if you have the kind of space where you like this stuff for decor, I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool to get. It was kind of cool that they'd include a poster, right? Oh my god, sorry. Like a ragamuffin today. So yeah. August favorites. Oh, okay, I do have one last thing I want to talk about. So, my youngest daughter got me into loom knitting. And I've been very busy. So in August, I started loom knitting socks. So I had a remnant from a blanket I made. So I made these slippers, slipper socks, which I haven't finished yet. I just need to pull the drawstring at the bottom to make the toe and weave in the ends. But this is where I'm at with that. Nice and cushy slipper socks for when the air finally turns crisp. And then I got this self-striping yarn where I'm making socks, and for me it's kind of a big deal that I'm okay with them not matching. I like this nautical type theme sock because of the red and blue. a nice dusty blue. I love a dusty blue. I don't like a... And I love this aqua color and brown. I love that combination. So thanks to my youngest, I'm knitting socks. So it looks like everyone's going to get socks for Christmas. She has moved on to other things. She's moved on to a variety of... She's creating a variety of things. Unlike me, I'm still knitting socks because I've been wanting to learn how to knit socks my whole life, so it's pretty exciting. All right, maybe I'll eventually... No, I probably won't because I have a hard time with knitting needles, but I can't imagine negotiating 4 knitting needles. But who knows? So that's what I've been doing to decompress in the evenings. And these are the decks I have been enjoying. Books. Oh, sorry, before I go, books. So obviously, this book. So, yeah, people, guidebooks, right? But these are all really good guidebooks. Even this one that I gave a hard time to is really good for that deck. It's a great jumping off point, and then you could look things up elsewhere. And this one. On audio, I've been revisiting Clarissa Pinkola Estes, her books, and Sandra Ingerman. I've been listening to a lot of Sandra Ingerman books. I have to say I prefer Clarissa Pinkola Estes because she narrates her own books and it's conversational, and I just prefer listening to her. Sandra Ingerman has a narrator for a lot of the books that I own on audio, and I have an Audible account. But I've been really, this past week and the week before, really binging because of commute to work is a bit longer. It's an hour to work, an hour back. I've been binge listening, revisiting some authors I really enjoy. Sandra Ingerman and Clarissa Pinkola Estes are 2. I don't know if I mentioned in my last video. I don't even know if that was in July. I think it's in July that I finished, finally, The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. That makes the creator of the Raven's Prophecy Tarot that I love so much. What else did I read? I think that's it. Not much. Oh! Yeah, 4 Seasons of Mojo. I have that on my Kindle. And, oh my god, I actually have a hard copy thanks to a very, very dear person. When I talk about the book, I'll talk about the person. But 4 Seasons of Mojo by Stephanie Bird. And, yeah. I love that book. If you've read books like Natural Magic by Doreen Virtue and A Witch Alone by Marion Green, it's that kind of that type of witchcraft book. But for me, it speaks to me more than Natural Magic by Doreen Valiente and A Witch Alone by Marion Green. So, well, anyway. So that's it for me for my August favorites. I'm trying to think. I think I had some August duds, but I can't remember what they are right now. I guess I purged them from my mind. Let me know what your August was like. Mine was just like my July. Glad it's over. But that's just because for me it's just been, every month has been the same. So this year has been one long shitty month. And but there's little pockets of joy here and there, right? We do the best we can with what we have. Let me know in the comments, how are you doing? Is there anything that you really enjoyed in August or currently enjoying whenever this video goes up? Yeah, all right. I look forward to interacting with you in the comments. Thank you so much for sticking with me for over 55 minutes, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful day.